Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, one of the big kicks I get out of doing this daily tech podcast is learning from guests and actually challenging my own worldview and any perception I might have about a particular technology or even a company. For example, if I were to say to you, what does Lenovo mean to you? I suspect that you would automatically think of the legendary ThinkPad. But hey, it's 2018, nearly 2019, and things have changed, right? So I invited Christian Teismann onto the show today, who is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Enterprise Business segment for Lenovo's PCs and smart devices. Christian is one of the company's executive experts on technology behind workplace transformation. So I want to explore a few themes with him today, such as the unintended consequences of open environments and remote working, which, if not managed correctly, can diminish collaboration and leave some workers actually feeling isolated and demoralised. The role that mobility plays now requires adaptable solutions to move from open space to coffee shops to huddle rooms and much, much more. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Germany so we can speak with Christian Teismann from Lenovo. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Christian. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Thank you, Neil. Thank you for having me on the show. My name is Christian Teismann. I work for Lenovo Corporation. I'm here as Senior Vice President running the commercial PC and how we call it smart device business. What this really includes is from strategy through portfolio and product management, marketing, to sales operation, the end-to-end running the commercial PC business. Clearly, the most known brand we have is the ThinkPad. Since 25 years, clearly the number one business laptop. But we also have a very wide range of specialized products around workstations, obviously all kinds of desktops, but also new technologies like AR, VR, and IoT devices that we manage as part of my group. On a personal level, I do live in Munich. The big advantage of Munich and living in Europe overall is that you're in the middle of the time zone. So you start in the morning with Asia Pacific, then you have everybody on the same time around noon, and then the afternoon and the evening belongs to the Americas. So living in Munich with my family and two kids.
When most people do think of Lenovo, they will think of the legendary ThinkPad. Like you say, 25 years. It's a fantastic device, it really is. But in a world where businesses are exploring the digital transformation of everything, I'm curious, how have you seen the corporate landscape evolve and also the role that Lenovo has been playing in the past, but more importantly, what it's playing in this new digital age too?
There is so much transformation going on, it's really hard to pinpoint this one, right?
Yeah.
But there is a big transformation that is really happening, and I would call it very simple. It goes from a PC, from a personal computer, to personalized computing. And in personalized computing, it's obviously a lot of new digital technologies and software, but also in devices itself that people are using. And for many people, they have gone through a transformation of basically coming from the mainframe age, using the PC, and then now using the PC as a center point of their personalized computing. But there's also many, many people coming today into the work life that have been basically grown up with a device since they were kids. My kids today, 4 years old, can basically operate a touch device, and they know how to find music or even watch a video on this one. So they're naturally growing up in this one. And this is now happening since nearly 2 decades, that people are there and they have a very different expectation how they kind of devices. So digital transformation is happening on a process level. It's happening really on a workforce level. And obviously it's also happening on a device level. But what it really enables is that people can work seamlessly together regardless where they are and when they are working. And can do this cross continents and can cross companies and can do this across different locations. And increasingly, we're digitizing every single process and really making much more integrated.
Now, many people listening to us now have the luxury of being able to work from home or indeed anywhere at all. But can you tell me more about how the unintended consequences of open environments and remote working can actually diminish collaboration and leave some workers just more feeling isolated and even demoralised in some cases?
Well, I do agree. I think it is a problem, and it is a problem that I believe requires work on both sides. Clearly, as you have a more decentralized workforce by people either working from home or constantly are on the move, I think you have to create an environment that people still come into the office, still have a ability to meet face-to-face. I, on a personal experience, believe and have learned this myself, that if you've never met a person face-to-face, it's very different than you have met a person face-to-face. So creating that possibility from a corporate perspective is very important. But it also, I believe, requires some personal discipline to make it work. And it also requires a lot of personal discipline that you, as you are in a remote location, are working in an isolated way from the corporation, really find the right balance also in terms of work-life balance between your private life and the corporate life. As soon as you really work from home is a challenge, because you basically are in an environment that is the same environment in your family.
So do you think that the increased mobility actually requires workers to be, more adaptable as they seamlessly move from home offices, open spaces, coffee shops, and even huddle rooms?
Well, I believe adaptability, I think, is happening through technology. And as easier the technology is that you can use from a location to location scenario, the easier it really will be. I think a big game changer, ultimately, from my perspective, will be 5G, because with 5G, you will be always connected. So you constantly will be able in all these different location scenarios to constantly interact online. I think a big challenge on this one is, quite frankly, security. And security, as so many data and so many confidential information that you even don't recognize how confidential it is, because it is about your customers, about your suppliers. Much more open to the public in this is the biggest concern, quite frankly, that we are seeing. So we invested a lot in trying to understand security, not just from a device perspective or from a network perspective, but from an end-to-end perspective, and understand security really in terms of the different scenarios that you have as a worker, and how you protect the data and how you protect every single aspect of your digital interaction from a security perspective. And this is, quite frankly, something that CIOs very often underestimate, how the device itself is potentially a threat in terms of security management.
And there are a number of challenges out there which we've covered, but we are talking about technology here and how it's removing those challenges. So what technology do you think is required to improve human interactions, boost morale, and encourage productivity to an organisation?
It's very difficult to just pinpoint one specific technology. I mean, there are clearly technologies that really are improving basically people's life interacting with devices. And a lot has to do by basically improving basic things like screens and the quality of visual overall, microphones, audio overall, so that the experience is getting more and more authentic. But as I said at the beginning, as we are transforming from a personal computer into personalized computing, we really believe that the anticipation of what people want to do next will make a big difference. The big buzzword that clearly people are using today is artificial intelligence, but making smarter, I believe, will make a big difference. And making devices smarter is, to a certain degree, baked into device, but also baked ultimately how the devices are actually collaborating with each other. And the software and the hardware together really will make the difference. And we are working very closely with all our strategic software partners on making that happen. There is also one other element to this one, and is that you really have to understand better how you integrate mobility and how you integrate personal compute much closer together, and how you integrate the traditional commercial application landscape with application landscape. landscape. And you see this on a day-to-day basis, how a lot of these software really impacting the way we are working every single day.
Now, we will have a lot of CEOs and business leaders listening, and very often I think businesses can think that the challenges that they're going through are just isolated to your company. But I'm curious, because you do speak to a lot of different businesses all over the world. Are there any trends around the big challenges that businesses are facing and struggling with when it comes to, I don't know, managing their staff, productivity and morale?
Well, I believe the biggest challenges from my perspective is really to adapt towards the different needs of the workforce. Because historically, technology was to a certain degree the gating factor. And with the advance of technology like bandwidth or the access to the internet overall or the introduction of certain devices, you change the way the workforce ultimately could work. Today, I would not say that devices are basically unlimited, but the choice of devices that you have and the landscape of different technologies, I think, is more or less unlimited. But to understand the different capabilities and the different background, different workforces, I believe is increasingly more critical. To simplify this, 10 years back, even 5 years back, most of the companies made decisions for hardware platforms based on a small team of IT people supported by procurement. Today, we don't have a world of bring your own device, like a lot of people predicted it will be, but we have a very strong world of choice, and people want to make choice, to make sure that this choice is reflecting what different work groups from different ages and different professions really need, I think is the big challenge that CIOs have.
So what do you think are the best technology tools for organisations to overcome these challenges and develop flexible workspace plans that can actually help produce efficiency and creativity?
Well, I believe ultimately, I think it really comes down to connectivity. Connectivity is the core, from my perspective, to deliver a huge new usage model of new software and ultimately devices. And if you see what 5G will enable us, this, I believe, will unlock a huge amount of new use cases and technologies.
So what excites you about the future possibilities of the workplace by leveraging technology and indeed the part that Lenovo is going to play in this exciting future?
So first of all, I think Lenovo is a very unique positioned company because we do have a very vibrant we have a very strong consumer PC and smart device business, even going into smart home. We are investing in our commercial PC intelligent device business, moving into areas like smart office, AR and VR, and even IoT. And then we have a very strong data center business. So we are looking from the world from very different angles from a technology perspective. But at the end, we are always looking at the customer at the center point of this one. Lenovo has evolved over the last couple of years tremendously in providing full-scale technology. And I think Lenovo will continue to evolve over the next couple of years around the customer on providing these solutions together with our partners. I think as more as we are integrating these kind of solutions, there will be lots of new use cases, and I'm very excited that Lenovo ultimately, with all the capacity that we have, can be a company that will continue to drive this forward and make it a great experience for customers.
Now, before you came on the show today, Christian, I did do a little research and I quickly noticed that Lenovo's recently opened a cashierless store in Beijing recently. Can you tell me a little bit more about that direction? That looks incredibly exciting too.
Well, clearly it is a showcase, and it ultimately, I believe, is a showcase how we are integrating all these different devices into one comprehensive solution. Clearly, there is a big infrastructure that you need to run something like this one. You have a lot of devices that we would classify today as Internet of Things, but that all need to be connected. And you need to have a software capability and a security to ultimately make that work. And, we are looking at a lot of these kind of use cases today where we can take all these different components of technology and really create industry solutions that make businesses much more efficient, but at the same time also making it a much pleasant experience from an end customer perspective.
Well, you guys are in a unique position, like you said, at Lenovo, and you've got these multiple components of technology which can really increase efficiency and are real big game changers for businesses. But for anyone that's listening, so if we've got a business leader listening or a CEO listening and they want to keep up to speed with the kind of work that you're doing, where's the best way of doing that and finding you online and downloading the kind of work that you're doing and following you on social media, etc.? Is there a quick and easy way of doing that?
Well, obviously, still, the easiest way to get in contact with us is through our Lenovo.com website that is available basically nearly in every country in the world. We have dedicated teams to all kind of customer sizes, regardless if it's global customers and large enterprises or mid-market customers or consumer. Obviously, we have a huge amount of business partners, both on the retail side as well as on the commercial side, that we are working very closely with to deliver customer solutions and being able to consult customers on how we implement these solutions to their best possible value.
Well, I love chatting with you today. I love the kind of work that you're doing there and how you're helping businesses through technology. And I completely agree with what you're saying, that the 5G that's coming next year and it's going to actually make sure that we're all always connected is a big game changer, and something that a lot of people, I don't think they've fully grasped just how much of a game changer that's going to be. But more than anything, just a big thank you for coming on today, Christian, and sharing your story and telling me what Lenovo's up to. Thank you.
Neil, it was a big pleasure to me. Thank you very much.
Wow, we certainly went far beyond the Lenovo ThinkPad in today's conversation, didn't we? And yes, we covered challenges such as the unintended consequences of open environments and remote working, which can actually diminish collaboration and leave some workers feeling isolated and demoralised. And also the role mobility plays now requires adaptable solutions to move from open space to coffee shops and huddle rooms. All of these are big challenges. But most importantly, what I loved about today's episode is we talked about tech solutions to these problems too, and the technology required to improve human interactions, boosting morale and encouraging productivity to an entire organisation. Technology tools for organisations to help them overcome these challenges and develop flexible workplace plans. That is the key to producing efficiency and creativity. At least that's what I took away from the conversation, but you may have a completely different insight or expertise or experience, and I'd love to hear it. So please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, or leave me a virtual voicemail by visiting my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, and let me know what resonated with you about today's conversation and what challenges that you're facing and how you are overcoming them. So before I sign off today, I also need to thank someone calling themselves 99KO, who left a 5-star review on the US iTunes store and said, "It's great, 2 thumbs up from me." So a big thank you for whoever you are taking the time to review the show. It really does help in that battle against the dreaded algorithms that we're all a slave to now. Because more reviews means a higher rank in iTunes, which means more listeners. So a big thank you to everyone that has reviewed and rated the show so far. And if you haven't, leave me a quick rating or a review now, and I'll owe you a favour. But it's time for me to go now, and I have a horrible feeling that my wife is tiring of my alternative Christmas movies, and she's lined up Jack Frost with Michael Keaton for me tonight, so wish me luck. I think I'm going to need it. But more than anything, just a big thank you for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.